Hello, everybody. How are you today?
Fine, we are happy.
Nice to see you. You look happy. You won't be after I've spoken. I can guarantee it. Well, I hope not. It's great to be here in what was the fish market for London. And I thought an amazing opening overview from Klaus. And I'd like to pick up where he left off with the line about the internet and the real world coming together. Here we are today, the internet coming together with fish in London. And I want to pick up on those themes. And I'm also going to attempt something a little bit difficult for a man, which is to do live demonstrations and talk about them as I go. So please bear with me. Okay? What I'd like to do is talk about how the internet and the real world are coming together. And I want to talk about fast and happy. The technology is going fast, and we need to keep making the consumer happy. Seems simple, actually quite complicated to do. So before I start, I wanted to take a photograph of all of you looking happy, because it's probably the happiest you're going to look through my presentation. So could I ask you all just to kind of wave your hands in the air and smile and look happy for me? Could you just do that, everybody? Big energy. Hi, crowd. Well done, everybody. Thank you very much. You look very happy. Excellent. I'm going to try and do the fast bit alongside that. OK. So first of all, what I wanted to do is just everybody recognize this page? I just want to talk a little bit about our philosophy on fast and happy before I show how I think the internet and the real world are coming together, creating opportunity. I say fast, I actually think we're probably at the slow stage of technology. I think we'll look back at this and think how amazingly slow it was. And that is going to be quite a challenge for all of us. So here we are on the internet. So here's something I think we're quite proud of at Google. It's this. You hit a letter, and immediately we're trying to work out what you, in this location, at this time of day, are looking for online, and give you the results in a fraction of a second. And we know that fractions of a second count online. People will come back to us more often. People will buy more things on Amazon if things load fractionally faster. It's critical. So there, we know in the UK, this time of day, in this kind of area, if somebody types T, they're most likely looking for Tesco, which is a big retailer. If they type TO, actually they're looking for Topshop or Toys R Us, another retail thing. We're a nation of shoppers in the UK. Actually, it's the biggest e-commerce market in the world in terms of per capita spend. Did you know that? Brits like to shop. If you type TOTT, that gets you to Tottenham. Now, Tottenham Hotspur is a famous football club here. And fast and happy, not only are we giving the links to people, we're saying, well, look, if you just want to know what they did in their last game and where they're playing next, there it is on the screen. You know all of this stuff. But it's enabled by the fact we completely rebuilt our technology architecture to crawl the web about 2 or 3 years ago, when we realized it was being updated more often than ever before, with richer and richer content than ever before, and it was getting bigger faster. So we had to completely rebuild what we did. It wasn't just news sites that were getting updated regularly, it was everybody's sites with everything. And that allowed us to build all the front-end changes that you now see that are predicting what you're searching for and trying to give you the results faster, trying to make you happier. Now then, looking at Tottenham reminds me that it's my brother's birthday shortly. He is a Spurs fan, so I just want to buy him a present for his birthday. Fast and happy. So I've typed something about buying a Spurs shirt. Oh, look. Oh, I apologize if I've caused any offense. I've mistyped that. I didn't mean to type buy Spurs shitter, but I have. But what our engineers would say is, if you can't spell, that's our problem. Okay? We're trying to give you what we think you were looking for, not what you typed. And that's quite important on the computer, but it's much more important on the mobile phone. If you've got thumbs like mine, it's pretty impossible to type anything. So that's one of the other things which we want to do, is always try to think about what is it somebody actually wants, and how do we give that to them fast. Now, side effects of the technology that we've invested in to crawl the web are we've started to get quite good at language online. So although I'm English and therefore unable to speak any other languages, I can start to enjoy content from other markets. So, for example, I'm spending more time in Germany at the moment. Allgemeine Zeitung is a fantastic read in Germany, and if I want to go and have a look at that organ, I can see it online very easily, but I'm not a German reader. So Todsfahrt by Niederstrahlenhausen, that looks terrible, actually. So some bad-looking stories, but of course what Chrome is doing is saying, would you like to translate it? And actually you can translate the page to English in a fraction of a second. It's not perfect, but it allows me to get the gist of most of the articles there very, very quickly. And that's a huge opportunity, obviously, not just for consumers who are able to reach out and connect across cultures, but actually also for businesses to begin to explore export at a very low cost basis into lots of different countries with lots of different languages. So that technology, I think, is important. It is going to move faster. It's getting better the more and more people use it. Automated, free translation on the fly. Now, it's also useful to think about the connection between the internet on your computer and the internet on your mobile phone. How many people find themselves doing things like looking up a phone number on the internet, writing it down on a post-it note, sticking it on the back of the phone? Anybody done that? Yeah? Seems weird, doesn't it, in this digital age? So one of the things I really like is an engineering director friend of mine who built this little extension for Chrome, which is up here. You see on the top right there, Chrome to Phone extension, which is a little program that plugs into your browser. And because I've identified myself to the browser here as me, and I've identified on my mobile phone who I am as well, I can make a connection happen there. So if I look at, for example, Old Billingsgate here we go. There's the phone number of the venue today. Now, I wanted to make sure that I got here on time and I wasn't going to be in trouble. Now, I could either write that down on a post-it note or I could click Chrome to Phone and bring it up on my phone. So what I've got over here is my own personal phone. And if I just turn it on so you can all see it, let me just bring that up there. Hopefully you can see the phone on the screen. Everybody see that? Yep. So I'm now going to click that button on the computer, and hopefully there'll be a connection between that and my phone. Bingo. And I can press a button on the phone fast and happy and make that call straight away. And that's not a Bluetooth connection, that's happening through the internet and through the cloud infrastructure. I want to talk more about the phone and the cloud and how that is incredibly powerful and transformational, and we're just at the beginning of that technology. Obviously, it's not just phone numbers you can do that with. You can do that with any web page. So if I go back to the internet, again, simple use case. I'm looking at where I'm going today. There it is on the computer. If I wanted to go to my phone, switch back to the phone, and let's just put it back on the home screen. Click the button, and again, hopefully that's going through the internet to my phone, and there you can see the map coming up and the location. Here we are in central London at the Old Billingsgate fish market, which is great. And I can do that and have a look at all the buildings around the place as well. So that's pretty cool and pretty handy, and it's helping to make the connection. But that's just one example of something that will be more and more powerful when you can research online for goods and services, and your phone knows what you've looked for because you've given it permission and can alert you to where you can buy them in the physical world. This is a transformational change that's coming, and people are only just starting to understand the potential of that technology. So if I stick with the phone for a little bit longer, let me just take you through a couple of other things which I think are important on the phone. We talk a lot about apps on phones, but actually use of the web on the phone is getting more and more popular. In fact, it's outstripping the use of apps. Apps are just a little cool front end for a website. The websites themselves are getting better and better. So if I go to the Google website on my phone here, here we go. You notice that we know that it's on a mobile device. I've told it it can know my location, which is City of London, EC43. This is a zip code. And it's also got these buttons, which are to make it easy for people like me with what I notice are poorly manicured fingers that are fat. So if I click restaurants there, just one touch, restaurants. So the phone knows where I am. So it says, well, it's obviously likely that Matt's going to be looking for restaurants near where he is. And I can scroll through the restaurant list, just swiping with my finger. And as I swipe, you notice there's a little image of the restaurant there, which changes, hopefully, as I go through. Maybe the connection's not working so well. As I go through the restaurants, there you go. And I can say, actually, bangers too, that's a slang name for sausages, a fancier sausage. Click the button and I can make a call to the restaurant. So 2 taps, one for restaurants, swipe up and down, second tap, and I'm calling the restaurant, making it very fast and very easy for the consumer, connecting the internet world and the physical world very quickly. Now, another side effect of the work on language is obviously trying to move beyond typing. You notice I'm just 2 taps there. I don't want to type on my phone. I can do. It's helpful to be able to email and things. The keyboards are getting better, but it's a clunky thing to do. It's very popular for people to be able to speak to their phones. Strangely enough, we spent decades speaking to phones, and it turns out it's something we are comfortable with doing. So if I just click my microphone, I can do a search, and not just a simple search, but a complicated search. Pictures of black Marc Jacobs handbags. Now, this is a query that I actually did do when I was looking for a present for my wife's birthday. And what's happening is oh, there we go. Hasn't quite understood what I've said. Let me just try that one more time. This is live, obviously, so it doesn't always work perfectly. Pictures of black Marc Jacobs handbags. So voice files recorded, goes to the internet. A server distributes it to lots of servers. They all try to figure out what I've said. And this time they seem to have got it right. Send it back and actually run the query, all in a couple of seconds. And not only that, it knows that black Marc Jacobs handbags, Marc Jacobs in the context of handbags is spelt with a C, because of course that information is all on the internet, and there are the pictures. So I can find the bag in the shop and buy it for my wife's birthday, and that's very helpful. Fast and happy. Second idea here is also trying to give you other results. So for example, 3,000 euros in pounds. When I was buying this handbag, I was somewhat staggered by the price. And of course, when you're out shopping, there's no easy way to check the currency rates. But here you can do it on your phone, on a website, not on an app. And there it is, not only giving me the search result, but actually also giving me the amount. My God, it's £2,500. Maybe she has to wait till next year for the present. But again, fast and happy in using that technology. So it's not just that the phone's connected to all the information on the internet, but it's the computing power of the internet through the cloud that's connected to the phone that is starting to be transformational. Let me show you another example. We talked about currency translation. What about language translation? So again, the same technology and savviness with language that we saw with the translation of Allgemeine Zeitung. What if I'm in Spain looking to buy this handbag? Here's Google Translate. How much is this handbag? Now, as an Englishman, I don't speak German, and I certainly don't speak Spanish. So hopefully, any Spanish speakers here? Hopefully, ¿cuánto es este bolso? Is that Spanish? Yes? Now, obviously, my accent is terrible, but there's a little speaker button here. So if I were to press that, maybe it would be able to speak to me. I'll hold it up to my microphone to see if it works.
¿Cuánto es este bolso?
How's that? Is it right? OK, I see some nods. I'm assuming it's right. You can also see here that we've got something called conversation mode at the bottom of the screen. I'm not going to demonstrate that now because we don't have much time, but you can have two different language speakers standing over a phone, one speaking in Spanish, one in English, and the phone translating pretty much simultaneously between speakers. This is Star Trek, happening today already. So we're at an early stage of this, but look at how it's going to accelerate, and the more people use this kind of stuff, the better it will get. Fascinating times. Now, I've talked about typing into the phone, tapping the phone, voice input to the phone. Another key input from a phone, of course, is the camera. We love having cameras in our phones. Some of you may have seen an app called Google Goggles. Now, we've started experimenting with commercial use of Google Goggles. Goggles can identify landmarks quite well and products quite well. It's not so good on people and bits of furniture and things, but it's starting to advance. And Goggles is a way of connecting your camera with our search capabilities. So one of the things we've started doing is here's an ad for a car, and we've experimented with some advertisers with a little Goggles logo. So the idea being that we click the activate the Goggles app. There it is. It gives me a camera. I'm just going to take a photograph of this outside the screen because it's a little bit bright otherwise. Take the photograph. Analyze the photograph. Can you see that there? And hopefully what that will do is find, there we go. It's found that it's a link to Buick LaCrosse. Oops, I've gone wrong. Fat fingers have failed me. There we go. Click that, and it will take me straight through to a link that the advertiser has suggested for the car, which in this case, hopefully when the internet works for us, in this case will be a rich media site with lots of videos and information about the car and an ability to book the test drive and so on. So you're making a traditional, this one's not going to work, you're making a traditional media advertising suddenly clickable, and everything becomes clickable in this world, the collision of the digital and the real world. And in an ad-funded world for many businesses, that's going to be really important. Goggles can also do other cool things. That one's obviously not going to work for me. I'm hoping the connection still does. So for example, a nice little demonstration with Goggles is to show you a Sudoku puzzle. Everybody love Sudoku? Yeah? Nobody loves Sudoku. I'll get off in a minute then. I find Sudoku incredibly difficult. My mother-in-law loves it. But what I saw with Goggles is that you can actually take a photograph of a Sudoku. Let me just put it down here for the light. And hopefully, goggles will recognize that that is indeed a Sudoku puzzle. There we go. And connect to the internet and tell me about Sudoku puzzles. There we go. Now, looking well. OK. Sometimes it gives you the opportunity to solve the puzzle, which this one hasn't done to me today. So that's possibly the least impressive demonstration you'll see all day. I'm going to try it once more, and if it doesn't work once more, then I just urge you to try it for yourself. It all worked perfectly in rehearsal, as they say. Okay. Right, so here we go. This time it's recognized the puzzle, but it's also given me the opportunity to solve. So if I click solve, there we go. OK, thank you. And I mean, I can make the point there, it's just a sort of frivolous application, but the idea is you're using the camera to send something to the internet. It is computing the answer for you, and it's sending it back to you in a relevant, contextually relevant format. And I think that's a really powerful thing that who knows what the applications of that will be, but this is the beginning of something big and powerful. Final thing I want to show you with the phone is not just the camera input, but now phones have got NFC, near-field communications abilities. They can start to connect other things to the internet as well. So this is an example of an ad that we ran to advertise voice search to see what consumers would do. It's very popular. We ran this at Oxford Circus Station. It's a phonetic ad. It won an award. We were proud of that. But we've also added an RF tag to this ad. So if I take my phone, I don't know whether the camera can pick me up, and I just tap that. Can you see this? Yeah. What's happening is the phone's connected to a video of somebody demonstrating voice search. Any kind of outdoor advertising, anything in store, any point of sale material. So we're now in a world where anything you can photograph, anything you can type, anything you can touch, anything you can say can be connected to the internet. I don't know where that's going to go, but it seems to me that represents a big opportunity for everybody in this room who's interested in the internet. And I said fast and happy at the beginning. I think we are at the beginning. We might well look back on these days and say, this is the slow period. Thank you very much.